Hey guys, it's Lauren Yates from Rave It Up here, and today I'm privileged to be with the go-to person to chat to about intellectual property law and even media law. It's Colin Seeger. Hi Colin, how are you going today?
I'm dry.
You're dry.
I got here.
With the rain. Yeah. We're trying to stay dry.
Yeah,
we can only do so much in Epping, right?
It's the way things are.
I really appreciate with how busy of a man you are that you came out to see us today.
Well, you know,
all the way from Newcastle today.
I always say, if you want something done, ask a busy person.
That is very true. I think we busy people are the best at getting things done and organising things,
There's
aren't
a reason
we?
that people aren't busy. It's because they're
procrastinating. That's what they're doing.
Forever.
Well, welcome to Rave It Up.
Thank you
It
very
is
much.
a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's a lovely and unexpected surprise. I'm delighted.
Well, I gotta say, we've definitely had like a lot of musicians on the show, and you know, and heard all their stories. But your story is definitely a different side of the music industry that we really haven't heard before, and we've never had someone in the law field on the show before. So
that's weird.
That's a first time for everything, right?
Well, most people are quite happy to avoid lawyers. I can quite understand that. I haven't lawyered for 25 years or maybe 30 years now. I've actually handed in my
resignation
cloak and sword to concentrate on what I do, which is strategic IP. But I did lawyering for a fair while.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to be a lawyer. That was completely accidental. I ended up doing law anyway. That was just a.
Well, I thought you'd be such a great person to chat to, and I think I was telling you this on the phone too, that our show is very positive and motivational, and really showing people the really cool jobs out there. Don't just settle for anything,
Absolutely.
At least with this show you can listen to everybody's stories and hear what they've done in their lives.
And empowering people is really, for me, one of the things I suppose I've always done all my life. I love doing it.
Then you are the best guest for this show. Well, I'd love to go back to the beginning of your whole career journey, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Or like very early on, not the really
beginning.
beginning. I don't need to know when you were born and all that, but to really give us a good insight into all the hard work that's been involved. You graduated in law in Melbourne in 1976.
Being precise, Monash, because otherwise people think it's Melbourne University, and we were in
Monash. Yes,
we were in
different part.
We fought intellectually. The Monash Mafia were very proud. We're very proud of our Monash Mafia, the people who went out of that college.
That's good. Well, shout out to them.
Yeah, they've been an amazing institution, developing great lawyers. Really are.
So, was law like what you always wanted to do, or did you have other careers in mind as well?
I wish I'd been
a long list of them.
I was an idiot teenager. I had no plan.
A lot of people don't when they're a teenager.
You're supposed to.
Too much emphasis is put on that. Too much pressure.
It probably started when my parents decided that they'd move from Beaumaris to Caulfield, so I would be in the area to go into Melbourne High. And then they told me that afterwards. I said, but I don't want to go to Melbourne High because I don't know anyone over there. I want to be, for a change, go to places where I live near people I go to school with.
Yeah, with your friends.
So they very kindly said, okay, all right. So I went to the Caulfield High down the road, which turned out to have an amazing drama section.
Okay,
Sue, who ran this thing, I think out of the 1,000 or 1,500 students, I think about 900 were involved in the drama somehow.
Wow.
And they created their own musicals. They wrote musicals, they performed whatever, and they were amazing. They got the first amateur production of Hello Dolly, I think, in the world, was given to these guys.
Wow.
And
so this is a whole new side of you. You loved the drama side.
No, I never got involved with it. I watched it and I thought, this looks really strange. Why would you do that? I just didn't want to be involved with it.
More the intellectual side of things.
I was playing tennis and squash. That was my entire weekend. From 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday till 5 o'clock on Sunday, I played tennis. That was what I did. Or later on, then I went a bit of sailing. But it was basically it. So drama, that's what great, love to watch it, but I didn't want to be part of it.
Yeah. More an intellectual man.
I don't think so. I've never thought of myself as that. But
from reading your story, I can definitely say that you are.
I'm really curious about
stuff. Which we'll get to that later.
I'm really curious. But I was lucky, and then this, sat for HSC as it was then, and I don't know, when they say, oh, what do you want? You tick all the boxes, don't you? And, butcher, candlestick maker, lawyer, dentist, forestry. Forestry forestry? What? Anyway, so I ticked everything, and I must have had one of those good weeks. You know how people do that?
Mm-hmm.
And I got a letter saying, oh, you can do law at Monash. well, that's a surprise.
It's like, okay, might as well try it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It seemed like, well, I've been given a ticket to the lottery, and I liked the idea of it, but it never occurred to me that being a lawyer would be something you do. So I rocked along there, and it turned out a whole lot of people at the uni were similar to me. They hadn't meant to, and they kind of scored a lucky draw because there were no tuition fees, whatever. Anyway, we did it, and these are still lifelong friends. I mean, they're still friends.
That's
I see
great.
them. That was in 1971.
And it's good, you're still friends.
Still friends, and I loved the law. I loved the study. Loved it to bits. Unfortunately, I spent a lot of time trying to be creative, and that wasn't actually appreciated by my lecturers or the markers. So for a while, I was having a bit of a battle with them. But eventually, I realised if I just gave them what they wanted and what they already knew, even though it was boring and it was like trite, it got me good marks. So towards the end, I did okay.
Then you can do what you want after you graduated.
Yeah, that's right.
And 3 years after graduating in 1979, you actually moved to London.
Yeah.
That's a big move. So how was that? Did you know anybody over there, or were you there by yourself?
No, I'd been an Anglophile from when I used to listen to The Goon Show and just English comedies. Just cracked me up. And I just thought, Monopoly, King's Cross and Euston Road, and there were these sort of mystical places in my head that I should go to.
Yeah.
So I knew I had to go there to get out of Melbourne, because Melbourne in 1979 was pretty vanilla. But anyway, so I did a bit of work. I worked for a law firm for a year, and they disliked me as much as I disliked it. So it was a parting of the ways. Great people, an amazing firm, Phyllis Fox, and I bless them now still for having put me off litigation for life. But I had enough money together by selling my car and my stamp collection and like everything to get a ticket, a one-way ticket to England. And I didn't know how long it'd be. And my sister, who was like five years younger, still probably my best friend other than my wife, said, well, I suppose I should include my son. Anyway, she said, can I come too? I said, yeah, sure, that'd be great. Because I was going with a mate of mine from uni. So the three of us headed off, and I hadn't realised that leaving your house, your parents' house, empty is actually a mean thing to do. But when you're 25 or something, you're like 26,
You're thinking about yourself.
Well, I don't think like a parent, I think like a kid.
Yeah.
So anyway, we headed off, and I just landed in London, and it was a day worse than this. Sunday morning, I remember in Victoria Station, and I said, I'm home. This is just unbelievable. I love this. And my sister's going, you're out of your scone, right?
It looks horrible.
And my other thought was,
all
can we get
rainy and
something to eat?
miserable, yeah.
I'm hungry. Which was the cry. And then we did a museum crawl of Europe, basically.
Oh, cool.
Jared and I and Errol, we did the whole of Italy, Europe, Germany, Austria. We went to Warsaw the week of the riots in Gdansk, but we didn't know. We were just told to shut up and not talk about solidarity. But in fact, it was the October in 1979, and that was an amazing time to go to all these places. And of course, it was before museums were crowded, so you could walk up and you could look at David's nether regions without having to elbow everyone else away, and it was really fun. It was amazing, and I felt as if I'd learnt a lot just by looking at this art.
And it's still stuff you remember to this day.
Oh,
so
totally.
great experience.
Yeah.
How long did you stay in London for?
5 years in the end.
5 years. Wow.
Yeah.
And then you're just itching to come back home, or you kind of had
actually,
to for work?
Well, the visa was running out.
Yeah.
And I'd met Lorraine, and she was kind of over Thatcher's England. And I said, well, I've got to leave the country. Do you want to try
you want to go together? Yeah.
And she said, all right, I was thinking Canada, but okay, Australia's fine. Okay, so we hastily got married in secret. I won't get into that. That's a whole other story. But we got married in secret and got her into the country. And we're in Melbourne. And fortunately, or whatever, while I was working at Chappell Intersong, the music publishers in London, the Australian MD for Chappell had come out and was in the office, and they said, hey, Seeger, your main namesake is upstairs from Australia. You want to talk to him? Yeah? Never heard whoever. Anyway, we sat down and had a chat, and we were talking. He said, Cole, if you ever come back to Australia, I think I could give you a job you'd get a job, because there's no one with your experience. Law and computing and copyright, trademark. So, okay. So, and then I thought no more about it because I thought I was going to live in London the rest of my life. Anyway, then of course reality check. That visa thing's coming up, and
That visa thing.
which I had fixed by marrying Lorraine, but that was too late. I'd already promised that we were going to come back here. So came back here. I took a bus up to Sydney because I had no money left, of course, because I spent everything living in London because it was expensive and those got paid very little. And he said, well, this is timing because the MD of Polygram is leaving and they need him to business affairs, so you're it. So I got this gig, walked into being Polygram's lawyer, business affairs, which I did for 7 years, I guess.
Which is now Universal Music.
It's now Universal Music.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
How does it feel to like look at Universal Music now and go, I helped with that? Especially because you were with them like really early on.
It was the period when we had Dire Straits, Mellencamp. We still had disco. We had like Polygram at one stage had like 60% of the market share. Something. It was insane. We had 1 year. Okay, this is giving out how big this company was. In 1986, I think it was. We turned over $100 million. Just the one record company.
What? Wow. Imagine the whole music industry altogether.
Well, that was most of it, I think.
In those days, it probably was, yes.
Most of it was scratching out to get the other 50. But it was an amazing time. And, of course, it wasn't dealt with spreadsheets. It was done by people who had A&R and would say, I reckon this act's got whatever, and you'd kind of work it up and they'd either work or not. So I learned a lot about risk mitigation, securitization, investment ratios, all those things that, funnily enough, I'm now used working with startups in Newcastle. But at the time, it was really arcane stuff. And so I did that for quite a while, and I actually fought every radio station in the country, all 137 of them, I think it was, to get them to pay us royalties, because they didn't pay any royalties for playing records.
Yeah.
They paid for the writer-songwriter, they got money from APRA, but they didn't pay money for records. And the start was, we're promotional, we're promoting. I said, I don't think we need to promote Dire Straits anymore. Honestly, the only stuff you're playing is the stuff they hit. You've told me already you don't make hits, you play them. So that argument doesn't wash anymore, so I want some money. So we eventually got them to pay money, and then I did with all the TV stations, because they didn't play for the music clips that they were playing from midnight to dawn.
Wow.
And again, they're saying, it's promotion. I said, 4 o'clock in the morning is not promotion, that's just saving you from having to turn your transmitter off.
Yeah, exactly. Just filling airtime.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got them eventually to pay that as well. So I had a really great time. I negotiated with Malcolm Turnbull while he was business affairs for Frank Packer, or Kerry Packer. He's great. He was really nice. I remember very clearly, we're on the phone, and he was Colin, Henry. Oh, whoa! What? Sorry, I've thrown my worry beads and they're hung out, caught in the light fitting. I'll be back in a minute. Clump, 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 clump. Okay, he's great. He's a really nice man.
Well, that was something that just blew me away when I read your biography. I was like, because you're really the person that really changed the whole music industry in terms of the pay-per-play royalties, because it wasn't done before that.
It wasn't done before.
A lot of artists have got to thank you.
PPCA would not have money if we hadn't gone into battle, and we were picked as being the Judas goat. So I had to argue.
I believe no one thought of that before you did. Because it just seems like common sense, really, that they should be paying.
Don't forget that record companies were all run by marketing people. No one ever appointed a business affairs guy to be run the record company, which is one of the reasons why I thought I should leave, because I had reached as far as I was going to go in the record company. It was never going to
you're like, do I fit in here?
So I thought, no, I'll get out of here. But that was a really interesting time. And I'd been talking to Shane Simpson, and we'd actually negotiated across the table about something, and he said, afterwards, you've thought about joining in practice? No, I'll really like it here. Anyway, about a year later, I'd actually, again, had my visa time had come up again. So we just got together, and he said, well, this is good timing. So I joined up, and we became, and he said, what we call it Simpsons. You've got the name. I'm just a guy, I just come out of the music industry. No one knows me from bar of soap, frankly. I think. I assumed. I think I might have been a little too self-effacing when I was younger, but anyway. We called it Simpsons, and we were unquestionably the best media law company in the business in the country. Absolutely. Shane is a genius, no question. We had some really good clients. Music business doesn't pay very well. I mean, most of them are impecunious, bless them. And, in the US, if you do a deal for 10% of, I don't know, John Cougar Mellencamp, you can buy a very nice house in Beverly Hills.
Yep.
10% of motor here would barely fill your petrol tank.
Oh yeah. Expensive.
So and you can't. Wasn't. So that was always a bit of a. We had good corporate clients, but I thought, this is going to be difficult, and I could see. I'd told the board at Polygram years ago when before CDs came out. I said, mate, as CDs, I said, if we're still selling plastic in 10 years' time, we're dead in the water. And they went, oh, jeez, you are such a card. And I was right almost to the day. So I got out of that, because I knew it wasn't going to go well. But the music industry was still pottering on, the film industry was going all right, and we had a great time. And then, Shane and I thought, this is ridiculous, because most of our clients are coming in and they're asking us for lectures on how to do their business. They have no idea. They don't understand. They're relying on us to tell them what they can and can't have on the basis of what we know the record companies want.
Yeah.
So that's why we ended up writing music business, because it just seemed to be, we felt guilty charging people $150 or $200 an hour to give them lectures of stuff they should know already.
Yeah. It's still a very popular book too. It's in heaps of libraries and universities and everything.
Apparently,
Yeah.
I got sort of disappeared off the third edition onwards. I got a little credit in the second one. It didn't appear in any others, but
You'll
anyway.
just have to write another book.
I have thought about that.
Write your life story. That would be great.
Oh no, I don't think I do that. I know I have other things I'd like to write.
I'll do half the work for you. I'll just transcribe this whole interview
Oh,
for you.
lovely.
There's all your work done. Book done and dusted.
Yeah. So again, you learn a lot about life and management and business from being your own business. Most lawyers are terrible at business, to be honest. Because, well, there's a small surgical operation done when they go to law school where they have their business gland removed.
Yeah.
Right, that's it. And then they're not allowed to give commercial advice when they're a lawyer because doesn't their insurance. So when they say, what should I do? They say, what would you like to do?
Yeah, they put it back on you.
Well, they have to.
Yeah.
They have to. And I thought, that's ridiculous, because I know. I'm sitting here on the other side of the table, busting, like biting my nose. Like, I know what you should do, and I can't.
But I shouldn't tell you.
I can't tell you. So I thought, this is clearly, I'm in the wrong game. So I told Shane, look, I'm out of here.
Yeah, step back.
So I sold my part of the practice, half the practice back to Shane. That was great. It was amicable. It was great. Cool. And then I thought, sitting at home, I'm thinking, what am I going to call what I do? I have no idea. No one does what I do. This is ridiculous. I've just uninvented myself.
And this is what you're doing now, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I realised that it was intellectual property, and people kept saying, is that sort of like hotels and stuff? Oh, God. Seriously, people had no idea. And God bless her, my wife says, "What? You need a name. Galvanizing Ideas."
I love that name.
Isn't that clever?
It really stands out.
It's amazing. And that was her. And you're right. That's exactly what it should be. So
galvanizingideas.com if people want to go check it out.
And that's been that for the better part of nearly 30 years now.
And still going so well.
Well, I've never advertised. I've never ever been. I've only had one period which was a bit of a client drought, which I have every now and again. But I've always been busy, and I've always had really interesting. And best thing is, I love every day I get up, and I am just having the best time in my life. Yep. And I think that.
That's when you know you love what you do.
Yeah. And I said to, when I was lecturing, which I dearly loved doing the lecturing at the, AM and JMC and COFA at various times, don't wait for someone to make your job for you. You have to seriously say, what we're doing. Looking back now, I realised the job I would have if I wasn't a lawyer would be a property buyer for a film company.
Ooh, that's interesting. I didn't even really think of that as a job, but
no, I didn't know.
It would have to be.
Otherwise, I'd have done it.
Yeah.
But I was just down at Fox Studios a couple of years ago, and there's this shop full of stuff. Right? What do you do? We provide props for films. You're kidding? And what do you do? We go out and buy stuff. I want that
What
job
a great
so much.
job. See, this is why we do this show, guys. It really gives you an insight into different jobs. I did not know that was a job.
No.
That's fantastic.
All these very strange little jobs that you wouldn't expect you could do. But
Who knows? It might be down the track for you.
Well,
Yeah.
I spend enough time in five and dime, whatever, recycle wares.
That it's so suited to you.
I love them. I hate buying new stuff. I just hate it. But so that was why I ended up kind of where I am now.
Yeah. What challenges did you face when you first launched your company that you have now?
Having no idea about how business ran.
Yeah,
That is the
pretty important to know.
It's incredible. I mean, even now, and funny enough, I
And
send
being
a note.
your own boss, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because
my
you're
boss is a
working for
bastard.
everyone else.
My boss just never gets off my back. Always. Go on holidays. What are you doing? Why you aren't making any money? Why aren't you working there? Oh God, I'll take the computer with me. My other boss is, why have you got the computer with? Because my other boss is shouting at me if I don't use the computer. That's really hard to learn about cash flow and learn about margins and things, because as a lawyer you just give advice,
Yeah.
and you've got office people and hope if there's more money coming in than going out, you're in business, So that balancing act was really interesting, and it taught me a lot about business. And frankly, the hard thing is to learn about yourself. It's something that I, again, going back to my lectures and my course, any student of mine watching this will go, oh, he's on that again. But I have this theory that there are kind of two people in the world. There are bureaucrats and buccaneers.
Yeah.
Now, bureaucrats they're not risk averse, but they don't like change. They like to know where they are. They like it all sorted. They like to know what's happening tomorrow. That's good. Yesterday is a good guide for tomorrow, that sort of thing. And the buccaneers go, well, damn that for a game of sausages. I'm going to go and do this. Right. Now, I thought I was a bureaucrat. Being a lawyer, you get great. I've discovered I have an infinite capacity for uncertainty.
Interesting.
Completely caught me by surprise when I realised that uncertainty was the least frightening thing. In fact, boredom sets in if I see the same thing twice. So for me, my life now is absolutely perfect because no 2 days are the same. But I can get lost in drafting a document. I can get lost for hours. Absolutely. Because it's like a game of chess with myself. That word over there, meaning that over there now, if I make sure does that word mean what I meant it over there? Or, oh, damn, it's slightly different. So I'm going to have
Being
to
a perfectionist.
Well, you've got to be.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of money hanging on these things,
I'm the biggest perfectionist, so I get it.
Yeah.
It's good.
But it's also hard when you're kind of basically intuitive and you go, I can see this. Why do I have to explain this to everyone? Yeah. So, but that's one of the things I think with going into business for yourself. Are you emotionally hardwired for risk,
Yeah.
or are you not? If you're not, don't do it, because you're going to be resenting. Every day you get up, you're going to be sweating and taking it out on your wife and your family because you're not comfortable. And for other people who are happy with uncertainty, a same old job is just hell.
Yeah.
And they're bad at it, and they start playing up and changing numbers because they would be better if they were that.
Yeah, they got to figure out what they thrive in, right?
That's right. Yeah, and that's inside you, and it's really hard to change. I don't know that people can really unwire themselves. I mean, you maybe, you could go against your nature, like you learn to like avocados, I suppose, and oysters, but this is different. This is like
this is different than food.
A little voice in the head's going, no. Get me out of here. So that was the important thing. That took quite a while for me to get it. I mean, I knew what I was doing. I mean, technically, give me the job in front. That was great. But it was when that stopped, and I then had to put that on run my business.
Yeah.
Then it became really interesting, and I know I'm a lot better at it now than I was.
So the company that you have now, you're giving advice to your clients, aren't you? In a certain way.
Yeah.
Different than obviously the law side of things, where you weren't
that's right.
allowed
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
ever
now-
fear that you'll give someone the wrong advice, or they'll take it a different way, or do you just kind of just roll with it and
I think I've got to the
whatever they
point-
take, they take.
I've got to the point now that I'm pretty damn sure I don't give bad advice.
That's very good. Or that could sound very cocky, but I think it's just
It's
a good way to be. You got to be confident in what you're going to give these
It's like a
people.
submarine captain. My brother-in-law is a submarine captain. Was a submarine captain.
Wow,
Like,
what a job!
and he was awesome at it, right? Now, and he and I talk about this, and he says, you just have to trust in yourself and trust that you can think your way out of it.
Yeah.
You thought your way in, you thought well, and that's how I look at it. I say, look, I won't make a capricious decision. If people say, what should I do? I say, give me your time. I have to think about this. Send me out all your problems so I can get a scope of the problem. And there'll be some options. And sometimes I say, well, what should I do? I say, well, if it was me, and this is only what I would do because that's me and I have my own, I would do that. For you, you've got these other considerations. I say that probably isn't the best thing you could do, but you could do it. And that's how you kind of frame it.
Oh, that's really good. Well, I kind of want to go back to also when you were working for other people, and you had the clients, also like the Wiggles. I read in your bio, and Warner Music as well.
Yeah, funny
how was it having clients like that?
Well, it was always funny because it was slight. Well, what's that old line about having a shower with a raincoat on?
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Someone will have. It's one remove because they're oftentimes it's their manager talking to you rather than them.
Yes.
They don't know. The manager knows, and they've relied on the manager. Or you talk to one or two of them, and they're kind of each one's got a different idea. So you have to go back to the manager and say which is the one we should follow here.
Yeah.
So that was fun, but you didn't really think of it as anything particular at the time. It's just a client, and you got to do the best.
Yeah, you weren't going, oh my goodness, it's the Wiggles.
Funnily enough, no.
Oh well, that's
good. A
good.
little bit older to be starstruck by a Wiggle.
To be fangirling over them.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. And I have to say, nearly all of the people I dealt with were fantastic. They really were. Occasionally they have little hissy fits where they go, and you go, yeah, I understand that, but
that's the music industry, though. There's always going to be people like that.
I really love the music industry. I love the camaraderie. There's a strange thing, because I do a lot of work now in the film industry, and it's a very different ecology.
Oh, yes.
Oh, and TV. Oh, no, I'm not going there. Seriously, not going to get me in TV at all. But the music industry is really nice because they don't feel that their success is your failure.
Yes.
Because they're not hunting, well, putting it bluntly, they're not looking after grants from the government. And there's only so much, that pot is that big. And if you've got someone else didn't.
Yeah.
Whereas the music industry, if they bought my record, great, they might buy yours next week. That's great.
Yeah.
Completely
kind of helping
attitude.
each other instead of where it's like, oh, you're going to take my job. You don't really have that as much in the music industry, which is nice.
Oh, outside that. The gaming industry is a bit like that too. Very, very
interesting. Yeah, I didn't think of
same thing. Gamers are probably even more like music industry was in the 80s. Slightly mad,
way to look at it.
Slightly caffeinated, and there are not too many rules. And all industries migrate through a period of complete anarchy through to stabilisation until eventually you get a 2 or 3 big players who kind of run everything. And that's happened with .coms and the rest of it. I feel really lucky that I've sat through and watched everything from dial telephones through to mobile telephones, 45 RPM records through to to digital downloads or whatever. I've seen it all happening, and it gives you an ability to contextualise things.
And the jobs that you did have when you worked for other people, do you think you got a lot of them just from who you knew in the industry? Because I know that a lot of people do say it's about who you know and not what you know.
People just find me.
I'm
still baffled that people would ring me out of the blue and say, I was told I should talk you. How did you? Why? Okay, great.
Well, think about our emails through Colin. It is definitely, people just keep going, contact Colin Seeger.
To be fair, probably a bit of give. I've done a lot of work for people just because they needed help, and I felt like if I didn't turn up, no one else was going to help them, and I had faith in myself. Some of these people, I'm a great believer in backing the jockey, not the horse. And people who were square with me were really showed the right kind of spirit and balls, frankly, male or female. Then not allowed to say that anymore. No. Anyway. Then I'll stick with them, A friend of mine put it really well. He's another mate from Melbourne. Said, you pick and stick your friends. You pick them and you stick with them. That's a really good way. And with my clients, I've got clients go back 25 years.
Wow, that's fantastic. That shows.
And
great work you do.
And they've been pushing hard. Like great friend Wayne Young created Fern Gully, was Rainforest, right? And was a co-producer of Crocodile Dundee.
Wow.
He's an amazing man. I love him to bits. He's so indomitable. He's like a cockroach. You couldn't crush him. You can't stop him, And he and I talk, and he says, "Hey, Professor Seeger," and I say, "Hello, Wayne." And we have these talks every now and again because I ring people out of the blue to just see how they are because I actually
nice.
care.
Yeah.
I hate to think they'll lose track. I rang John Spence the other day, who was actually the Wiggles manager at the time. That's why I met him. Now he's got an amazing guitar shop somewhere up here selling vintage guitars.
Wow.
So you do strange things.
Hopefully, we keep in contact too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And even though you've already achieved so much in your career and life, Colin, what else can we expect from you in the future? Have you got things lined up that we can look forward to, or should we just go to the website and
No,
hopefully hire you in the future?
Yeah, you can always ring me. I'll always take a call. You know, people have always got to SMS me first. So I always say to people, as I told you.
Yes, otherwise he will not answer the phone because he doesn't know who it is.
No, I'm sick of being sold phone plans. No, I got involved with the startup community and renewable energy community up in Newcastle. And I'm doing a lot of work with 1804, which is a hub for technology and renewable energies.
That's
so I'm on
great.
the board of the Hunter Angels, who again are an investment group, and it's a focus, I guess, around the Hunter region, which is a big area, you know. But we're trying to make it. We can't de-coal it, but we can make it ready for when coal is no longer wanted, because it is clearly a bear market.
Yes.
When the investment people say don't buy shares in coal mines, that's a sign that things are going badly.
Bad, yeah.
And Newcastle, unfortunately, is very much based on coal. It just is. It's 100 million tonnes a year go through that port. But we've got some amazing people coming up there and coming with some great stuff that isn't talked about outside, but will be. Medical, scientific, engineering, some amazing stuff. And the stuff that I did when I was in the record company, which was basically dealing with half-baked ideas by people who no one had ever heard of, building something you couldn't even prove they wanted. Guess what? It's a startup business.
There you go.
Guy walks in and says, I've got this thing, and you go, yeah, okay, I know how to work this because I've been here, I've done this like umpteen times. And venture cap people are a bit surprised, people, merchant bankers, because I do it because I've always been doing it.
That's great.
And that's what I'm doing now, is just trying to make the world a bit better place, so that people who are younger than me will have still some air to breathe.
Hopefully, yes, we're hoping.
That's
We've
the
got to do a lot more for the environment, and it's great that you're paying it forward a little bit. And keep us up to date, though, and maybe come back on the show and tell us all about it.
I've got mad ideas on other things.
Oh, yes.
Ferocious appetite from nonsense, but that's all right.
Well, we are unfortunately getting to the end of the interview. It's gone very, very quickly, but as a closing statement, and was probably the most important question, knowing what you know now, what would you tell your 14-year-old self?
Do it again.
Do it again. Oh, I love that. No regrets.
Absolutely none.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Absolutely
that's when you know
none.
you've lived a fantastic life.
I reckon so.
And you've definitely made some amazing changes that are going to be around forever.
And there are times when you do, in the dark of night, you think, have I done the right thing? And you think, yeah, really? Yeah, I would have made the same decisions every time for the same reasons.
Because you made them for a reason.
Oh, yeah. Or
Trust in your gut.
Just look, that looks exciting.
Let's go down that path.
It's a shiny thing. Unfortunately, it is a bit of a weakness, but anyway.
Attention span. And if our audience want to contact you or find out what you're up to in the future, where should they go? Your website a good idea, or?
Yeah, probably. That's as good as any way.
Yeah.
Emailing me is the best way.
Okay.
And that's colin@galvanizingideas.com.
Okay.
That's galvanizing with an S, because I object to the American spelling. Or they can do colinseeger@gmail.com for those who are having a bit of trouble spelling galvanizing. And yeah, just ping me, and if I can help you, I will. If I can't, I probably know someone who can.
Yeah.
The world goes on.
Email them, guys, and check out his website.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's an absolute pleasure. It's such a lovely surprise.
It's been a lot of fun. It's made this rainy day a lot more pleasant.
And there's dogs running around in the park, which made my day complete.
And really loud birds before, but I just ignored those. You're welcome on the show anytime, so please keep in contact.
I will.
And for everyone watching, thank you for tuning in. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment below, and of course share it with your friends. Get the word out about Colin and what he does. And we will see you in our next interview. Bye!